Good day, all. I've been talking this past year about how our outreach has been doing, and you've been doing an excellent job. But one of the things I want to come out to you is how much we've been doing. You'll be surprised to hear the numbers. I'm surprised too. I'm going to give it to Nina, who's going to give you a whole year report to that.
Thank you, Father Kevin. We certainly have been very busy this past year. Even though there was a pandemic present, outreach never missed a beat. So we'll begin with our Thanksgiving. I hope most of you saw what we placed in the bulletin, but we gave out $10,225 in ShopRite gift cards to families. In addition to that, ShopRite granted us 200 turkey and ham vouchers to go with the meals. I thought this was just a tremendous outpouring, but had no idea what we were in for. By the time we got ready to put our Spirit of Giving program together, we ended up assisting 287 families, which consisted of 671 children and almost 400 adults. The total amount of your gift cards that you donated was $75,420, which absolutely blew us away. We had 300 vouchers again from ShopRite for turkeys and ham, which really helps to make the meal affordable considering the price of meat at this point. So wonderful job. You all are what makes all of this work for us. I can never thank you enough. You never let me down, no matter how great the need is. Our school came through in a very big way. They started in November with a coat drive. The families in the school brought so many coats that we were not only able to help the Mason-Dixon Community Center, which was what we were reaching out to do and accomplish, but we had so many that we were able to extend coats to the Asylee Women's Organization, which is through our St. Anthony of Padua sister parish. And in addition, I still had enough coats to send down to the sharing table at Prince of Peace, where our casseroles go on Saturday, and they have anywhere from 200 to 300 people that come through a line every week for food. So a tremendous outpouring. Lisa Hack, which is with the Faith Formation, had collected hats and gloves along with the Goddard Academy in White Marsh, and we had enough of those to add to the coat collection, so many received both. And then the school came back in and made the blankets once again this year, the Tide blankets. And so each of these organizations were able to hand out many things, the coats, the blankets, and the hats and gloves. So I cannot thank the school families. Bel Air High School, C. Milton Wright High School, both came in with large donations of food and some frozen turkeys and hams. Tremendous outpouring from our community and our parishioners once again. But in addition to that, I would just like to take this a step further so that you really have a total grasp of how far your reach goes in this community. You proudly baked 4,087 casseroles that went out into our community. That covers the sharing table at Prince of Peace, St. John's in Haverty Grace, who has a first Friday meal each week, and also Calvary Baptist, because we were shut down with the pandemic and our people weren't going in to cook, so the casseroles took over. So that's a tremendous effort, and of course Father pushed that every single week for me, so I thank you, Father. The St. Lawrence Ministry, considering we were in a pandemic and many people had stimulus money and they also had additional food money and they were protected against evictions and turnoff notices, we still ended up assisting 150 families and individuals, totaling over $17,600 for motels, utility shutoffs, water bills, security deposits, and many of those were just ones that were referred directly to the parish. I didn't have my teams back until June of this past year. So, the need was still there. And once again, through the donations, we were able to assist with many of those. I also used $4,870 in gift cards to purchase clothing and groceries throughout the year. And this goes, just so you understand, people reach out to us that have been fire victims in our county that's lost everything. I have different organizations that bring homeless to me that literally have the clothes on their back And so oftentimes I'll take your gift cards that are still left over through the year, and I'll purchase clothing for them and get groceries for them as well. I also shop in the church. I think many of you have seen me over there getting my baskets full of food from your donations to take to people. Once again, this is all about you. You are the one that makes all of this work. Your contributions to the Cottage Thrift Shop in clothing was a place that I pull from all year long. Again, for anyone that's in need of clothes, or children in need of clothing to go back to school, shoes. So I always appreciate when people contact me and I tell them to donate the clothing to the Cottage Thrift Shop, because it allows our outreach to then pull the clothing back for the calls that are coming in to us for people in need. We have continued to send the men's dress clothing down to Christopher's place. I can't tell you how many bags of clothing we have sent down for interviewing for the men there. And then I added on the House of Ruth this past year in the fall, and we've been sending down women's dress clothing for them as well to do interviewing with. So I do have a couple volunteers that will take those down. Our weekly food donations to the Hartford Community Action, you have just exceeded the amount that I am just amazed. Every week I walk over into the church. There have been times where the agency simply didn't have enough capacity to store everything. So please don't take that as a reason to back down, because what happens is I then reach out to like Mason-Dixon, I reach out to Calvary Baptist or St. John's, St. Francis. I've reached out to many of the churches that have pantries in the area, and we help to support those. I have 2 churches coming this week to pick up, because we had enough to be able to support 3 pantries this week. 4 pantries this week, which is wonderful. Medical equipment, I continue to receive calls. What can I do with this? We have a direct connection with Beata Nursing throughout the year. Your contributions have gone to them. Their nurses will go into someone who maybe is coming out of the hospital or a rehab center, and when the nurse goes in, they realize they don't have maybe adequate food or clothing, or they're in need of medical supplies that their insurances don't cover. So that has continued throughout the whole year. You guys are wonderful about contacting me with your whatever your contributions are. And then of course the phone calls that come in about, where you're cleaning out a house, or maybe you're making a move. I always continue to have you support the Found in Faith Ministry in Joppatown, because they're what makes a house into a home. They literally have everything that it takes to set up and fill an apartment. So if a resident comes out of a shelter, or someone loses everything in a fire, they can fill the kitchen with everything it needs. They have furniture, they have bedding, bathroom needs, they have everything. So I always push for you to donate to them, and then Habitat Restore as well in Aberdeen as another partner that we work with. Your donations of hams and turkeys. I had every freezer on this campus full with donations. So a lot of those went to the sharing table in Edgewood. They also made their way to Calvary Baptist. They also went to Anna's house, and we were able to supply probably 40 some to Mason-Dixon, who puts groceries together and has a drive-through where people pick up food on a weekly basis. So again, tremendous amount of donations there. And I will always say to you, you don't have to pick the largest turkey there is, because not everybody has an oven large enough to bake those. We had enough toys dropped off here to the parish office that we were able to not only we work with Anna's house during the Spirit of Giving, but then we also replenish their toy closet once the Christmas is over, because keep in mind, everything pretty much clears out during the holidays. The Anna's house will continue to have families come in that are coming from abusive situations, so they literally walk in with nothing. So you were gracious enough to load me up with enough toys that we were able to replenish the entire cupboard with some toys for all families going forward this year. And I'd be remiss if I didn't just give a big kudos to ShopRite. All through the year, ShopRite has worked with us in giving us the meat donation for Father Michael's spaghetti dinner, all the hams and turkeys. They're at a point now where they'll just call me when they have cases of frozen meals that we supply to organizations in the community. They continually just contact us with so many things that I cannot thank them for their support enough. And then, of course, some of our ministries, just to give you a little insight there, our rosary ministry continued to make rosaries. I received a call from Our Lady of Mount Carmel back in the spring. They were in need of 200 rosaries for their school children. We were able, because of the rosary ministry, to take that. I was able to take that down there and assist them with that. We also use our rosaries for the Legion of Mary, who goes into the hospitals and the nursing homes, and for home visits. We also, you'll see them in the back of the church. I keep that stocked as well. So that continued on. Our cooperative food ministry, which is the one that serves a meal at Calvary Baptist on Monday nights on our designated times, started back up in July. We've served anywhere from 75 to 80 people on our designated nights in that for the Bel Air area. And our Welcome One team started back in June. They serve a meal on the 29th of each month, and they serve between 35 and 40 people. Our prayer shawl ministry continued to make prayer shawls that were picked up all through the year, and people were so grateful to know that they had those, and we had them here. And then I guess GM ministry is our ministry that makes up lunch bags, and they go into the Aberdeen area and into some of the most poorest sections, I would have to say, that are there. And they serve anywhere from maybe 35 to 45 families once a month with sandwiches and a drink and a treat. So I hope, if nothing else, you realize all the contributions and donations that you give are going out. They are being used. We take every call and try to do what we can with the call. And if we can't, we try to make sure that people get the resources that they need. But I have to thank you. Your tremendous support and Father's support behind outreach in this parish is just tremendous. And I hope this tells you just how far a reach, again, that we go in assisting the community here. Thank you.
I just add to thank for all the work that Nia's been doing, but there's also other things, like we had the birthright that you gave to, the baby bottle campaign we have during Lent. Close to $20,000 for there. That goes. We just know the Fishers of Men this year, another development. People from men of our parish going, helping out, putting roofs on, putting a ramp in, fixing the bathrooms, doing things. There's so many things with your help we're able to do to outreach. So you do make a difference. The dollar makes a difference. The $5, the turkeys, the hams, everything, the gift cards, they make a difference. You're being Christ to others. Now, my plea is saying thank you, thank you, thank you. But we can't stop. Just because the year stopped, poor is still always with us. The casseroles are still important, especially during this cold time now. Snow's going to develop, things like that. People need the sustenance. People need the things, the clothing aspects. You make a difference. We're being the vehicle to help people. So continue. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But still continue. The poor is always with us. And that's what Jesus is calling us all to do, to be Christ to others. Thank you for your help. Thank you for your assistance. Thank you for Nina and everybody who made a difference this year. Thank you, thank you, thank you.